If you have been walking around with questions, worry, or the feeling of having about 47 tabs open in your brain, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to be talking about autism is a different brain style, behavior is communication, and comparisons create pressure and robs peace. Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon, and one thing that I learned very early in my career as a speech language pathologist is this, that I deeply love working with children with autism, and I have enormous respect for their parents. You are truly remarkable. And I know how much it means to carve out time like this, and I genuinely hope that what we talk about today feels a little bit like a warm hug. Because autism information can feel heavy, it can feel conflicting, and sometimes, honestly, it can feel scary. So today isn't about piling on more information, it's about offering a different way of looking at things, a clearer lens that helps things make a bit more sense and helps you feel calmer and more confident in how you respond to your child. Because when we understand what's happening underneath the surface, everything changes. One of the simplest and most helpful ways to understand autism is this. Autism is a different brain style. That's it. It means your child's brain may process everyday life differently. Things like communication, sensory input, social connections, emotions, routines, transitions, attention, play, and daily demands. And autism isn't just one thing that you can point to, it's a pattern across development. It's how your child experiences the world, how they cope, how they connect. It's certainly not something your child turns on, it's not a phase, and it's not a choice. And there's not one look to autism. Some children are highly sensitive to noise, lights, textures. It all feels too much. And some children seek out sensory input. There are little munchkins that love to move, climb, spin, touch everything. Some other kids talk early and endlessly, and others perhaps communicate a little later. Autism isn't a personality, it's not a behavior problem, it is neurology. And this next part really matters deeply to me. To say that autism is not parenting gone wrong. You hear people say, oh, if you'd only do this, I did this with little Johnny. No. Autism is not a lack of discipline. It's not a child being difficult. It's not a child trying to control you. I'll never forget a mom asking me if she caused her child's autism. And while it stopped me in my tracks, I've since learned something important, and that is that guilt often comes bundled with parenting. Many of us carry it quietly, like a backpack full of block bricks. Did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Did I do enough? If you've ever wondered that, please hear this clearly. You did not cause your child's autism. And here's a shift that changes everything. When we stop trying to label behaviors as good or bad, we start getting curious instead. So rather than asking, what's going on with my child, we ask, what is this moment like for my child? And that changes how we see the moment. Because we look underneath the behavior, we often realize their behavior isn't about defiance or resistance. It's about a nervous system that's overwhelmed and asking for support. Certainly not a child pushing limits, but a child reaching. They're reaching their limit. So let's talk about the nervous system for a moment. Every human brain has two main jobs. It's a lot more complex than that, but let's put it down to that. The first is to stay safe. And when I say safe, I don't mean physical danger, although that's part of it. But what I'm talking about is whether the brain feels comfortable enough, predictable enough, and not overwhelmed. The second job of the brain is to learn and connect. And when a child feels regulated and safe in this way, we see more flexibility, more communication, curiosity, play, learning, and connection. But when a child doesn't feel safe, even if nothing looks scary to us, the nervous system shifts into survival mode. And here's the key difference for many children with autism. Their stay safe system often turns on faster and stays on longer. And overwhelm can come from things like loud sounds, bright lights, scratchy clothes, waiting too long, being rushed, transitions, unexpected demands, or simply too much language all at once. And that's why a child can seem fine until suddenly they're not. Often parents say, I don't know, it came out of nowhere, but it didn't. It came from a nervous system that was coping until it couldn't. Meltdowns don't happen because a child chooses them. They happen when coping runs out. And that's not misbehavior, that's communication. And when we think about this in terms of ourselves, I think we can understand. Take, for example, I used to take a wonderful team, to Haiti, to a orphanage in Laganav. And the very first trip that I went just to do some reconnaissance and meet the lady that oversaw the orphanage and put things together. And I wasn't prepared, though, for what I experienced. You can only imagine. I experienced children with clothes, without clothes, children that were hungry. I also experienced a lot of love and a lot of joy. But overall, by the end of the days that I was there for that first time, my nervous system was like buzzing. I didn't realize it, really, until I got on the airplane. And I was sitting by the window, and a lady was sitting in the middle seat beside me. And she kept reaching over and looking out the window. I'm a real flexible person. This wouldn't have bothered me, but it did. And then she did it a second time, sort of lunged over me and looked out the window. And I said, oh, listen, if you want to look at the window, let's switch seats. Oh, no, I'm fine. She did it a third time. And I don't know what happened. But on that fourth time, all I know is that she ended up in the seat by the window, and I now was in the middle seat. Think about it. How do you do that in those close quarters of an airplane? I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I just know I recognized that my nervous system was not okay. And my behavior of somehow getting her out of her seat and into mine was my way of trying to cope. So that's one story. I'm sure you have all kinds of stories. We know that when we get overwhelmed, our abilities to stay calm and to be true to ourselves isn't always quite there. And it's no different from our kids with autism. And you see, behavior is communication, even without words, even when it's messy, even when it's loud or silent. Behavior might be saying, this is too much, or I don't understand. Or I need a break. Or I need help. Or it might be saying, I need you close. A child who runs away may be escaping overwhelm. A child who melts down at bedtime may be saying, I can't shift gears. A child who ignores you may be saying, I can't process language right now. And a child who repeats the same play over and over may be saying, this is predictable. This helps me feel calm. So when something hard happens with your child, I want you to pause and ask what your child might be communicating, and then respond with calm support. We're moving from how do I stop this behavior to how do I support the need underneath it? That's parenting through understanding. And then there's comparisons. Oh boys, comparisons are sneaky. Comparisons show up at playgrounds, family gatherings, school meetings, Facebook. Oh my gosh, yes, Facebook. And at 2 a.m. in your own mind, where you're thinking, other kids can handle this. Other kids are talking. My child should be doing that. But comparisons do something very painful. It steals confidence. It adds pressure. Think about it. When you go onto Facebook and you see people's lives that are just so measured. I mean, even look right now. Look at my backdrop. It all looks orderly and nice. Or I think it looks nice. But what you're not seeing is that there's a pile of paper over there, because that's what I do. I pile papers. And then there's some dog toys over there. And then I have a lamp without the light shade over there to try to get more light in here. You don't see the chaos. You just see what it is that I'm portraying. And if you're comparing, that can add, like I said, steals confidence and adds pressure. And pressure is not a good thing for you or for your child. So instead of asking, should my child be doing what other kids are doing? Try asking, are they communicating more than before? Are transitions getting a little easier? Is my child recovering faster from a meltdown? Because progress isn't always loud. Sometimes progress is one extra second of calm, or one tiny glance, one new gesture, one small attempt, or one moment of connection. And that matters. So I want to leave you with this. 3 simple refrains to carry with you. Autism is a different brain style. Behavior is communication. And comparisons create pressure and robs peace. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for your child. And thank you for showing yourself love and grace. You're not alone in this.